Hello everybody, this is Vinayak and welcome back to Voxfor Lifetime, your go-to source for Linux tutorials and server management tips brought to you by Voxfor.com, your trusted provider for lifetime VPS, dedicated servers, managed WordPress hosting, monthly VPS plans, and lifetime web hosting based on cPanel. In today's video, we will explore the Linux source command, what it does, how to use it effectively, and how to navigate with source command in Linux. The source command in Linux is used to execute scripts within the current shell session rather than creating a new subshell. It is commonly used to apply environment variables and refresh configuration files without restarting the shell. Before moving further in our article, I would like to tell you what is the use of source command. This is a shell utility which is come pre-installed in our Linux distribution and is used to execute the content of a script or file in our current shell. Unlike executing a script by directly using the / file name, source command runs the file without creating a new shell instance, which is perfect to load environments variables into the current session. Syntax of source command is source space our file name. We can also use dot space file name to execute the source command for that particular file. We should be using source command to enhance our shell scripting techniques and habits. This command is useful because if we want to run settings or variables in the current shell without having to start a new shell session, we can do it. Some examples for using this source command can be for bashrc or bash profile. These are used very much when we are making changes to our environment variables or some path directives. For example, if we need to restart our bashrc file, which we have also showed you previously in many of our video tutorials, you can move forward and use the source command. In this tutorial, I will be showing you up some practical examples for source command. For example, if we are loading environment variables in a file named env_vars.sh, I will copy the variables first, go to terminal, create a file by typing nano env_vars.sh and press enter. In this file, I will paste these three environment variables, exit by pressing Ctrl X, Y and enter. Since those environment variables are saved now, we will use the command source space our file name, that is env_vars.sh. I will copy it, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Source command will reload and execute the contents of env_vars file in our terminal or current connection to the shell for VPS. Similarly, if we want to verify those changes, we will move forward and type echo $path_to_project. $path_to_project is a variable which we have designed. I will copy this, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Since we had already specified directory for path to project, we can see it by using the echo command. To confirm if these were the variables we set in our env_vars file, I will type cat space env_vars.sh and press enter. We can see that the path to project is same as the one mentioned in our env file. Similarly, if I want to check the variable for mode, I will move forward and type echo $mode and press enter. The current mode which is set using our bash script is development. Now, if we want to reload our bashrc file, if we have created some changes in it, I will move forward and use the command source space bashrc. This will modify and refresh the bashrc or bash_profile file contents, because if we added new aliases, functions or environment variables, these changes will not be affected until we do a reload of our profile. To do it, I will proceed and copy the command source bashrc, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Now our bashrc file is reloaded again. Previously, we used the method with source space the file name, and over here we use the source space dot file name. This can also be used with symbolic links present in our Linux VPS server. Let's look at how we can import shell functions in our VPS using source command. For example, if we have a helper.sh file which contains useful shell functions, such as the one described in our blog, and we want to use these functions in our current session or using another script, we will copy them, go to our terminal, create a file with the name nano helper.sh and press enter. Paste the contents, exit by pressing Ctrl X, Y and enter. Since we have exited our nano editor, we will proceed further and use the command source helpers.sh. I will copy it, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. The helper.sh file is also loaded in our bash configuration right now with Linux server. If we want to call the log file or calculate the directory size, I will use the command log_info and strip started. I will copy it, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Moving further in our tutorial, we will look at how source command differs from executing a script in our terminal directly. This question arrives very often, and the question is that if we execute the Linux source command, what is the difference between executing it and executing a separate script using slash file name? When we execute a script directly, it will create a subshell and run the commands in it. However, if we use the source command, the execution will take place in the current shell only and it does not impact the parent shell. For example, if we have a script named script.sh which defines environment variables and I have this specific variable present in it, I will first copy it, go to terminal, create with name nano, space name of our file that is script.sh and press enter, paste it. And now what I will do is if I run the same command or the same script using the execution method, it will pop up with the echo myvar. For example, I will go down to my terminal, exit by pressing Ctrl X, Y and enter. Next, I will execute this shell script by typing /script.sh, copy it, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Since I'm getting permission denied error, I will run it again using sudo, paste it and press enter. If you again get this, it means you need to modify the current configuration of your bash script file. To make it executable, we will type chmod space +x space script.sh and press enter. Next, I will try to execute it again. And since the file is now executable, but I'm not getting any output for environment variables, this is because it was done in a separate session, not in this one. However, since it was run in a subsession, meaning that the variable myvar is only available during the script's execution and not beyond it. But if I take the same command script.sh and just replace the dot with source, that is source space script.sh and press enter. And now if I enter echo myvar, I will copy this section, go to the terminal, paste it and press enter. We can now see hello world which is printed in the output for our terminal. This means that if we used the previous method, we would only be seeing the output until and unless the session is active, which was a subsession and it was not recommended. But if we use source command, we can keep it in our current session until we get disconnected from the server or there is some error in connect. Moving further, let's look at some troubleshooting steps for common issues with source command. For example, you get a error which is for syntax, you can use the command bash-n space script.sh. This command will create a safe environment and stop running when it faces a error. It will also be used to catch issues before starting or using the source command for our bash script. To do this, I will copy the command, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Since there were no issues in our script.sh file, we will not see any output. This is also used to prevent from any issue happening due to incorrect file permissions, and if we get some issues such as no file directory error. Also, if you see a error such as no file or directory exist, or if you are unable to execute it, I would recommend you to first check if the path is correct and then reuse the source command along with the same script. Moving further, let's look at some practical scripts which will be working with the source command. For example, if you want to store reusable scripts for a dedicated directory, you can create a configuration file and move all of the contents in it. For example, you can use the source space slash script slash setup.sh, where the scripts folder will contain all of the reusable scripts in it. Secondly, if you want to create initialization files for a project, which will be a custom project, you can continue and name them as project init.sh. For example, I will copy the name, go to terminal and open a editor with the name nano project underscore init dot. Now I will move forward and paste the bash script into this file. Once it is pasted, we will enter by pressing Ctrl X, Y and enter. Now we will make the script executable by entering chmod plus X space name of our file, that is project init underscore, it will take a minute, project underscore init dot sh. Now our this cell file is made executable. I will proceed and use the command source space name of our file. We'll copy it, go to terminal, paste it and press enter. Now we can see that there was no project file or the folder named projects slash my underscore app. If it were there, the source command would have gone and executed it. Moving ahead, let's discuss some differences between source command and the dot command. Source and dot command both achieve the same results. They execute a file from the shell that is currently running on your terminal, and the divergence makes distinctions based on readability and preference. The full term source is used when we are referring to it for clarity, while it is used when mentioned briefly. For example, if we want to execute a script named script.sh using source command, it will give us the same performance as dot space script.sh. But we use source command to create the refresh in the same session and not create a sub session for our terminal. This means that if we use source space script.sh, the commands or the file contents will be executed in the current shell. However, if we use the .script.sh, this command would have gone and created a subshell and then executed the contents, which is not a good thing for various reasons. Moving further, let's look at some best practices for using source command. To provide a good reliability, I would recommend you to use absolute path, because referencing absolute path helps us maintain consistency and prevents error. To do this, I will copy the command source slash home slash script.sh, and the script placement should be done inside home because it will make it easier for us to execute all of those script commands from a single place. I will proceed and discuss the next step, that is regarding documenting your scripts. For example, if you have around 4 or 5 scripts and they have some contents which serve different purpose, you can add comments within those shell scripts to help others and yourself understand what that particular script does and why in the example we are seeing over here, we have a export variable named db underscore user, which will execute a variable named admin if it is called using the variable db underscore user. We have put in a comment which states that this script will set up project specific environment variables. This is required if you are going to run some projects which are either in production or for your testing use case, along with you providing access to other teammates as well. Next, I should remind you that you should be mindful of variable overrides, because when you use the source command, make sure you have available variable names and they are unique to avoid accidentally overwriting existing variables in the current session. That's it for our today's tutorial on how to use the source command in Linux. We covered its syntax, common use cases, environment variables, and troubleshooting techniques. If you found this video helpful, subscribe and share it with others in the Linux community. For more tutorials, check out our blog linked in the description, and remember, whether you need lifetime VPS, dedicated servers, managed WordPress hosting, monthly VPS plans, or lifetime web hosting based on cPanel, Voxfor has you covered. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.